Please welcome Ms. Kathy Lee, Regional Director, North Asia, Google Cloud, to the stage.
Good morning, Hong Kong. And morning, and a very warm welcome to Google Cloud Summit. And I'm so delighted to have all of you joining us today. I'm Kathy Lee, and I lead Google Cloud for North Asia. Today, I'm excited to share with you a little about Google Cloud and how we're doing and working with the companies across all industries to build the next phase of cloud computing. So before I get started, I wanted to thank this year's Google Cloud Summit sponsors for their business cooperation, collaboration, as well as expertise in investment. Thank you. So over the last 3 years, Google in Hong Kong has been working on a Smarter Digital City initiative, aiming at driving digital transformation for our businesses and consumers. Much of this digital transformation is underscored by cloud technology, which is helping to power this business transformation. We launched a Google Cloud region right here in Hong Kong end of last year, and we have invested on a global scale $47 billion in technical infrastructure and office facilities across all of Google to deliver on our vision. Today, we have 61 cloud zones across 20 cloud regions all over the world. And few companies can build a network like we do. So digital transformation is creating new industries like ride-sharing and media, streaming media. So it's also revolutionizing healthcare, financial services, and almost every other industry. By using Google Cloud, we can help your teams to collaborate more efficiently and help you to drive your digital transformation. Google is building products for Hong Kong that we believe we can address key needs for driving our businesses, and we're also focusing on helping our community, mainly in 3 aspects. Economy. We launched a cloud region here, and we're creating economic opportunities for large corporations, as well as small, medium-sized businesses, including startups. Education. Google is investing in educating corporations as well as individuals on AI education and developer workshops. Last but not least, ecosystem. The number of partners which have at least one certification on GCP has increased by more than 60% over the last 12 months. And our partners are now transacting 7-figure deals on GCP Marketplace, and we look forward to doing more. Cloud technology is a new way to work. We believe that cloud is not only an enabler of innovation and disruption, but also the vehicle by which enterprises can drive transformation. So this new paradigm is about getting out of the business of delivering information technology that doesn't differentiate and switching to investing what does differentiate, turning data into insights and machine learning through big data and machine learning, and to discover what differentiation might be. And it's also about developing and building new applications to drive better engagement with your customers, employees, or even inspire new ideas. And lastly, but certainly not the least, this new paradigm is about transformation driving new collaborative models, changing culture as well as processes, and unleashing team productivity and innovation. So at Google Cloud in Hong Kong, we're helping some of the most well-known brands with their digital transformation strategies. Work, HSBC, the 7th largest bank in the world, relies on GCP to build their technology stack, underscore their needs for big data. Play, we do have different industry-specific examples, Klook in travel, Aftership, and Elex in gaming. Live. So who used Hong Kong Taxi to get here today? In fact, they built their app on Google Cloud. So today, virtually every industry are choosing Google Cloud to help them on their journey. These includes 9 out of 10 top 10 media and entertainment companies, 7 of the top 10 retailers, plus leaders in software, telecom, financial services, manufacturing, and more. And here are some of the customers on Google Cloud right here in Hong Kong. So you may ask, how do I get started? I would urge you to think about the following questions throughout the day. Number 1, how do I modernize my infrastructure? Number 2, how do I create insights from data? Number 3, how do I accelerate application innovation? Whether it's in-house apps that are critical to your businesses or pivotal customer-facing apps. And 4th, last but not least, how do I transform how teams work? So today's session, we will take a look at each of these more closely. And thank you again for joining us today. Without further ado, I would like to introduce and welcome our next keynote speaker on stage, Mr. Oyvind Roti, to talk about Anthos, our multi-cloud solution. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Oyvind Roti, Technical Director, Office of the CTO, Google Cloud, to the stage.
Wow, wow, wow. This looks amazing. Welcome. Can you hear me in the back? Great. Can you hear me in the back there? Fantastic. You know, when I see all of these people in this room, all of you, I'm thinking, first of all, there's a lot of different experiences and backgrounds. You all come here to see different things. But what unites all of us, I think, is this is a great opportunity not just to learn about Google Cloud, about our technology, to go to the code breakouts or to go into some of the deep dives this afternoon, but it's a great opportunity to meet each other, to make new friends, make connections, and learn what other people are doing as well. So you may not believe this, but I'm actually more of a computer geek. I'm a pretty shy guy. It takes me a lot of effort to, meet new people that I don't know, and, I don't really like it. So maybe some of you are the same as me. And if you are, let's just make a promise to each other today that we will try to meet at least one more person that we haven't seen before during the lunch break, in the afternoon, or what have you. And please come and say hello to me as well if you can. Does that sound okay? All right, fantastic. I think the sound propagation takes a while, so it's a bit delayed in the corners. But we're on a good track. So this morning, we're going to start at a very, very high level. We're going to talk about some of the big picture things. We've got a lot of information, but, and this is my favorite, we've got a lot of material around demos. We'll have some of our partners and customers talk about their experience as well. So all in all, I think you'll have a very varied experience talking about many different aspects of Google Cloud. Then in the afternoon, after some nice food, you can go into breakout sections, and there's other activities as well that you can take part in and meet other people. Google Cloud's all about running where you want to run and what you want to run, how you want to run it. It's an open platform, and there's no lock-in with our platform. You will learn today about migrating enterprise applications as well as developing new applications. And you'll talk about smart analytics, machine learning, productivity tools, and a lot of other really, really cool stuff. But at the foundation, at the very bottom layer, is something that's dear to my heart, but many people don't think about so much. It's infrastructure. So everything starts with the underlying infrastructure, and everything is built on top of that infrastructure. And if we do our job well, that infrastructure is hidden away from all of you so that you don't have to worry about it. We'll take care of it, and you can just create amazing new experiences for your partners, customers, and staff. So our vision for infrastructure is scalability, being able to scale as you want, globally distributed, and really differentiated in security, reliability, and speed. And we meet you where you are. So whether you want to lift and shift, and I think my slides are not projecting, I'm afraid. A little technical hiccup. May I have another clicker, maybe? We practiced this beforehand, by the way, so this is all planned. All right. Maybe we can go to the next slide whilst we're waiting as well. Perfect. Thank you. Just as planned. That's great. Nope. All right. So the speaker notes actually progress, but not the slides themselves. So it's going to be a long presentation, I think. And I'm running out of jokes as well, so this is going to be very, very interesting. All right. I see some action. Can we start with modernizing infrastructure, maybe? Here we go. Fantastic. Big round of applause as well to the staff. Thank you for doing that. It was very seamless. So we can lift and shift. Also, if you want to migrate Windows workloads, Windows works great on Google Cloud. High-performance computing, so for scientific computing resources, you can also use Google Cloud, and it works really, really well. But the example that I want to talk about, just to pick one, because it's really, really cool, and I'm very excited about it, is SAP and SAP migration to cloud. So SAP, as many of you will know, is crucial to many, many enterprise businesses. Literally, the survival of the business really, really depends on SAP working really well. So you need to have a cloud provider that allows you to really run SAP in fantastic shape, high availability, reliability, and so forth. Also, you need to make sure that all of your instances and landscapes are highly available and don't go down, because that loses productivity for you. So one of the features in Google Cloud that some of you may know about is called live migration, where we can actually, even if there's a hardware failure, we can actually move things from one virtual machine to another, or physical hardware to another piece of physical hardware, without you noticing that things are actually going down in the background. So all of that copying with CPU and memory happens in the background so that you get continuous service and everything stays up. Innovation, though, with SAP, you have all of the data, inside data on customers, on suppliers, on supply chain. You really want to get at that data, manipulate it, find insights so that you can actually make better decisions for your business. And on Google Cloud, you have tools that integrate into your SAP experience. And later on, Marco will also talk about smart analytics and data, and we'll go into a lot more detail about that. But some of you might be running data centers. Maybe you have a co-location provider. Maybe you're running in a hybrid kind of setup. How do you innovate in that kind of setup? It's actually quite tricky. We're just catching up a little bit on the things here. So as you can see, a lot of organizations are actually using hybrid setups, and a lot of the workloads are still on premises. And let's all be honest with ourselves. A lot of the existing applications that are running inside your data centers and colos, they will actually stay there for a while. Some of them will stay there for a long time. Some of them will be migrated. So what you need is a solution that allows you to modernize at your pace, at your speed, for the applications that you want to modernize when you want to modernize them in the way that you want to. So hybrid is absolutely critical for this, and we need to have a solution that prevents a lot of the trade-offs that enterprises often face. Should you invest in quick new tools or security audits? Both super important, but trade-offs. How about the money that you spend? Should you spend that on reliability or on the cost to reduce, to invest in customer-oriented growth, for example? And finally, portability or consistency. Do you want to choose the latest and greatest tools everywhere, but trade off in terms of a single pane of glass where you can manage everything and control everything from one side? Or do you want to make sure that you have a consistent view across your infrastructure? You have one single pane of glass, you can see everything that happens inside your infrastructure. In short, we want to do hybrid and we want to do it right. And we believe that the right way to do it is a software-based stack, use an open software that prevents lock-in, and a solution that abstracts away all of the infrastructure so that you don't have to worry about the bits and the bytes, the servers, the disks, and the network. You focus on your applications and what's important to your business. And it's called Anthos, and it's a single way to modernize, build, transform, and manage your applications from a single pane of glass, wherever you want. And let's look into it a little bit deeper. I think I said earlier that I'm a bit of a technical geek, right? So I slid in a little bit of an architecture diagram, high level. So don't worry, we won't go too far into it. But here you have a picture that explains how Anthos works. Your legacy applications, as well as your new applications, all work in Anthos, open source stack, easy, secure, consistent. And most importantly, over on this side, you can run it in your existing data centers, or you can run it on your choice of cloud providers. So this is Anthos. It's a platform for modern applications. But you might be looking at me and saying, hey, this is too good to be true, right? This is too many good things, hybrid, multi-cloud. Would you like to see a demo? No? No, you don't want to see? Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Hey, how are you doing, Osman? You doing all right?
I'm good.
Yeah? Oh, no, I think that's the VMware demo. That's a mistake, isn't it?
Yep. Are you guys ready?
You ready? You going to show us the demo?
Yeah, I'm
Over
ready.
to you, Osman.
Are you guys
Please
ready?
give him a hand.
香港人, ready? Come on. This is the morning. Oh, this screen actually shows every day when you're having an on-prem solution, on-prem data center, most probably you will be having a VMware vSphere kind of infrastructure here. And this is a sample that we have an online boutique is going to meet with the Black Friday. So we have to scale to meet the requirement. But most of the infrastructure is you have to purchase, you have to scale, you have to manage it. Now we are having a technology is help you to scale your infrastructure to the cloud and move a VM and to a container. It's very easy to do this. Is for example, now we have the IP address here using the online boutique here, and this is the VM actually running on production workload here. We're using the same IP address, and then in order to tag the environment, so we use the green tag on premises, but it's a real application there. So it's very easy for us to use is we just write, hold on, let me tag this, try to switch to the environment. Write a very simple script is to, this one is actually a VM21, which appears in the VM infrastructure there. And then we want to migrate it to a online boutique app. Okay, so, and the next one is to run the script, apply the script. With the script, let me refresh the screen. You see there is a job, a cluster actually is provisioning on the cloud, on GCP. This one actually is creating a cluster on the cloud, and then we have our enforced migrate job is to move the VM from the on-prem VM infrastructure to the cloud container. Let's check at the back end what's going on. You see there is a job, sorry, it's at the very bottom here. Is a job actually running at the back. It's streaming the infrastructure from the VM environment to the cloud. And our technology is using streaming, so which you can have the production environment up and running within a minute on the cloud. But since we are demo live here, we cannot support to have wait for so many minutes. So we have created a job already, which is the online boutique app 2, is up and running on the GCP cloud. So it's very easy for you to move from VM to container. Is it good enough? Is it good? Okay, let's see more. Oyvind mentioned about we are enforced supporting multi-cloud, hybrid cloud environment. So if we want to manage all this kind of infrastructure, we have to have a single control plane, how to manage all this infrastructure. So we create a component within Enforce called Service Mesh. This is one of the user interface. We have a tabular format, or we have a topology format here. You can actually analyze all the traffic within all the services, from front end to service layer to recommendation service and to here. And you see there, when you mouse over here, you see there's a payment service. Actually, there's a diamond triangle there. It's a service, and you see all the latency, all the error rates, all the requests. And with this, and then we can go to the dashboard. We can create a SLO on individual services you can monitor. And for example, this one I actually created intentionally yesterday night, is I need, because it's a payment service, I need a very high turnaround time. I managed it to have less than 0.4 milliseconds, but this one cannot. But let's figure out later on. But one more thing here is the recommendation. Because having microservices environment on cloud, on other cloud, or on-prem is very complicated. We actually provide a recommendation how you secure your environment. For example, here, in our service mesh, actually we're using an open source Istio, and here actually we're recommending you to use the mutual TLS to secure all the traffic between services. By copying this one, and then as an administrator, it's very easy to move on here. Let me run a check here. Make sure the service mesh is disabled. So run a script. It's a kind of infrastructure as a service thing, so we can have a CI/CD pipeline to manage overall configuration. And then this is the recommended configuration. We apply it, add it into the GitHub. And then let me push it. So I'm pushing it to the repository, and then the system will pick up from the Istio and apply to individual different cluster. So let's check. Okay, it's on. Very easy. It's already supporting at least two environments. One is the GKE cluster, one is external cluster. And what's that? This is what we call a cloud hub. In a hub, actually in here we have three clusters here. One is within the GKE, what we call central. Another one is called external. And one is on-prem. So we have a single control plane to control overall what the GKE cluster happens on managed in GKE, Google Cloud, and is on-prem, and one is on other cloud. Quickly here. We have a online boutique app actually deployed on different instances already. One is on Google Cloud. Another one actually is here. Our friendly cloud service provider. Another one is on-prem. So it's very easy to manage all these kind of things with single control plane, infrastructure as a service with this same pipeline of CI/CD. But one more thing is, do you have a flexibility? No, not every company can apply or deploy, create application by themselves. Most probably you want to leverage the marketplace, right? So you can actually deploy application which is container ready from the marketplace. For example, now I want to use the Cloud B. You just apply it, and we have 3 environment, 3 clusters on the control plane. You can pick which one you want, and then you just deploy it. So take the default. You'll be deploying, running a script, deploy to the cluster you want to have. So is it exciting? No? Come on. If you're an administrator, if you're a developer, it helps you a lot. Be true to yourself. Okay, I'm done. Back to you, Ivan.
It's a really, really tough gig. Thank you, Osman. I think those of you who have done this, live demos with all these bells and whistles, it's really, really hard to do well, and Osman did a great job. How about another round of applause for Osman? So hopefully now you all saw, the power of having one central looking glass into all of your infrastructure. You had clusters in another cloud provider, you had clusters inside Google, you had clusters on premises as well, all from the same single pane of glass. I think that really hits home the power of having an open platform, preventing lock-in and using open source software. Hopefully you'd enjoy that. But of course, with all of this technology, it's absolutely critical that the security is paramount in everything that we and you do. So you need to make sure that you have protection. You need to have end-to-end provenance of what's going on in your infrastructure. And in Google Cloud, we even go to the lengths of building custom hardware chips to make sure that we know exactly where all the components are coming from and they're being checked, both at the infrastructure, so the physical service, as well as the networks. Encryption happens at rest and in transit by default. You don't have to do anything. It already happens. And we give you options to do even more encryption layers with your own keys as well, should you want so. How about stopping threats? There's a lot of threats. Those of you in the security space, you know this. The threats never stop. Just in the about minute or so that I've been on stage, we've stopped 10 million spam messages coming through. 10 million, just in the minute that I've been up here. Secondly, you need controls. Our IAM, Identity and Access Management systems, allow you to give access to exactly the people who want it, at what time, to the resources that they need, and nothing else. And finally, to make sure that compliance is done, we then have all the big certifications that you know and you trust, so that you can actually make sure that we're in compliance with all the things that you need to be in compliance with as well. Secondly, let's talk about data privacy for a little bit. And let me be very, very, very clear. You own the data, not Google. No one else. You own all the data. We don't sell it. We don't use it for advertising. Let's just be very, very clear about that. There's also additional controls that we have even against insider access. So if you want to make sure, even if it's for a maintenance event, that somebody needs access to a certain piece of infrastructure, we can arrange it so that you get messages about it. Finally, we really take pride in the work that we're doing in terms of international audits. And you can just ask us, and we will deliver the results of that on request so that you can make sure that you have all the right paperwork in here. Now, I'm really, really excited to welcome up on stage Natalie. Natalie Che is from Airwallex, and she's going to talk about some of the cool stuff that they've been doing. Natalie, please, over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Natalie Tse, Strategy Director, Airwallex, to the stage.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie, and I am the Strategy Director at a fintech startup called Airwallex. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about how we embarked on a journey with Google Cloud and how it's helped us on our business journey. So for those of you that don't know the name Airwallex, we're actually headquartered in Hong Kong. We're a fintech unicorn specializing in cross-border payments. We've been lucky enough to be featured in FT and Bloomberg and TechCrunch as one of the future unicorns as of our latest round of funding this past March. So what's our mission? We're actually building the cloud of banking. And what does that really mean? Cross-border payments for businesses have always been very costly, inefficient, and intransparent. Instead of having to go through a bank, we're hoping to make it less painful by building a tech-driven, digitized platform that empowers businesses with the best connectivity, the best efficiency, and is also easy to integrate with via APIs. In doing so, we're hoping to remove a lot of the traditional barriers that businesses face in growing internationally. We've had the great fortune of having a great investor panel, such as Tencent, Sequoia, DST, and MasterCard, that have supported us in making this vision come to life. Our ambition goes beyond simplifying cross-border payments. We realize that banking infrastructure is very antiquated and not suited to serving a lot of digital businesses, such as e-commerce platforms. So what we've done is really to abstract the complexity out of payments by building our own tech stack on top of banking infrastructure and clearing networks. This includes building our own FX liquidity engine as well as compliance systems in order to deliver the best financial services experience to our customers via a single API. This infrastructure that we're building is the next generation and needs to be real-time, stable, and highly reliable. This is one of the key reasons why we chose Google Cloud as our infrastructure provider as we scaled across multiple jurisdictions. This is to illustrate our global footprint and the importance of having global coverage in our cloud providers. So in building out our global payment network, our footprint has also grown global. We've grown our presence rapidly and now have 9 different offices with Hong Kong as the headquarters and multiple offices in China and San Francisco, London, and Melbourne. I'm one of 350 employees currently, and we enable cross-border payments real-time, T+0 most of the time, to over 130 countries and over 50 currencies. So I emphasize this point again. A key ingredient to our success is global connectivity, enabling businesses to send money whenever, wherever they want. We have managed to plug into local clearing systems worldwide, such as FPS in Hong Kong and FedWire in the US, so that when a customer sends us their money, we're able to remit them in the fastest possible way. So what are some of the challenges that we faced and that Google Cloud was able to solve for us? Firstly, system scalability. We're dealing with customers' money here, so any margin of error or downtime could really cost us our reputation. Google Cloud scalability is top-notch and enabled us to quickly provide our services to many customers across the globe. Customer growth is another big one. We serve customers such as Tencent and JD.com, and their growth has been exponential over the past years. Making sure that we can keep up with their growth and support their growth is key. Last but not least, I would highlight that engineering resources are always scarce at a startup. Although we have a big bulk of our employees as engineers, we still very much value having a service provider such as Google Cloud to supplement our technology base. Last but not least, the geographical coverage is unsurpassed, and we really need that in order to build the next generation of global payments. To summarize a few more reasons why GCP has helped us along our journey, I think the network infrastructure that is entirely owned and managed by Google is very, very key. Next up, security. We are dealing with a lot of sensitive payments data and customers' banking information, so state-of-the-art security and the fact that we own our data is absolutely paramount. Last but not least, I think data is also very precious. Is a very precious asset for all of the startups that are trying to run data analytics on user behavior, et cetera. So being able to leverage tools such as BigQuery has really helped us along our journey. Last but not least, the Google platform has really made things easier by being cloud native and developer friendly. There's one more point that I'd like to emphasize, which is the very flexible cost model. I think startups, they're really struggling to see whether their business will survive the next day or the next year. So being able to work on a flexible workload-driven model with Google Cloud has really helped us with our startup culture. Also, it's helped us reduce our downtime significantly and ensure that our payment services are available 24/7, even over the weekends, and have very stable operations. Last but not least, the global coverage. We are hoping to scale across many, many more jurisdictions and locations. And we cannot imagine not having a service provider such as Google Cloud help us in our global expansion. That's all for me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Natalie. That was really, really interesting and super exciting. And Natalie mentioned developers as well, that we're going to talk about a little bit. And it actually, it takes me back a little bit, quite a few years, actually. I know I don't look it, but when I started developing first on the first computer, my compiler of choice, or the programming language that I was using, was called Pascal. Thank you, yeah. Not Turbo Pascal, that came way later. That's the cool stuff. No, Pascal. The floppy disks, which is, well, never mind, floppy disks, search it on Google. Not the 3.5-inch floppy disks, the 5 1/4 with a hole in the middle, right? Those were the ones that I grew up with. And for those of you who are really geeky, the operating system was a clone of CP/M, so there you go. So many things have changed since I was doing development or getting started in development many, many years ago. But there are some things that have not changed. And that is that applications, your applications, is really what brings value to the end user. Whether that is a customer on an app, or if it's an internal stakeholder or a colleague who's using your application, you really want to make sure that your applications are running reliably, stably, and users can have the best possible experience that they can. To do that, you really need an application development platform that allows you to automate everything, to be agile, allows you to bring a lot of change to the different systems. And application development in Google Cloud does exactly that. So continuous integration to automate your test and also deployment. Serverless, which we'll talk about in a moment, that allows you to really get away from all the infrastructure management and just deploy applications, and the application is the unit of deployment. We looked at hybrid and Anthos, being able to run what you want, where you want it. And also Istio, which allows you to create a service mesh, which is very, very popular now with cloud-native applications, especially for microservices architectures. That's what all the cool kids are doing these days, cloud-native. And also API management. You need to make sure that the interfaces, both internally and externally, can be managed, scaled seamlessly at the same time. A lot of things that need to be just right. And for me, who's a geek at heart and who loves to do development, I don't do so much development in Pascal anymore, but a lot of other languages. It's really exciting to me to see the growth of what we call serverless. So serverless allows you to ship your code without worrying about all the infrastructure. There is no provisioning. I'll repeat that, no provisioning required. And you can scale as much as you want, but also importantly, scale to 0. Why is that important, you might ask? Well, for test and development, or if you have a lot of applications that are running that are not used all the time, when it scales to 0, you don't pay when nobody's accessing that application. Of course, it needs to be open source based. We don't want to be locked in. And since this is Google, I want to use any language. Maybe not Pascal is so cool anymore, but Golang or Ruby or C++. I want to run my application on any language that I want. I don't want to be limited to just a few specific languages. So all of those it's a big wish list, but Cloud Run, which was recently announced, gives you all of that and more. And remember, if you don't use it, if the users are not using it, you don't pay anything. But you might think, this is serverless. Okay, so you decide, or Google decides where you run your serverless containers. Not the case. You choose where to run it. Option 1 is to use Cloud Run, which is a fully managed infrastructure. You don't have to worry about anything. And Cloud Run just runs your serverless containers. You don't have to worry about a thing. However, if you already have invested in the Kubernetes ecosystem and you've started to create Google Kubernetes Engine clusters, GKE clusters, Cloud Run allows you to build serverless on top of your clusters. So imagine, let's say if you have Kubernetes clusters running for your internal infrastructure, maybe internal applications, and now you want to offer internal-only serverless applications as well. This is a great way of doing it. And because Cloud Run is from Google, it has all the best practices of containers, takes care of a lot of the things behind the scenes for you, but it's also built on an open source platform called Knative. So you get all the benefits either way, whether you have fully hosted or you want to host it yourself. And remember, that could be whichever data center you want or cloud. But again, it's nice to see all these slides and all of these promises. Do you want to see a demo? All right. Good timing, William.
Yeah.
I've noticed you've been hanging around. Have
Yeah,
you
I've just
got
been
something to
hanging
show
around.
us?
I've just been chilling out right here.
Awesome. Over to you, buddy.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is William. I'm a customer engineer based in Hong Kong. Any Aussies in the house? Cool. Good to see you all. So what I'm going to show here is probably the wrong file, is a little app that I want to deploy into Cloud Run, as per what Oyvind was saying. So one of the things that Cloud Run gives you is a lot of flexibility in terms of your runtime and your dependencies. So what I've got here is a Word to PDF converter. So it's a very simple app. However, I'm using a very old piece of software to do this. So I'm using LibreOffice, which is basically, well, ignore the code. Basically, it's a Python web app. But you can see there are calls to this LibreOffice binary. And then also in the Docker file, I've also got configured doing apt-get installs on the LibreOffice package. So let's just say I've built this app already. What do? I want to run this on Google Cloud. Am I building servers? No. Am I setting up VMs? Am I writing scripts to install these packages? No, not at all. So all I do is I go to the Cloud Run UI. Can everybody see this? Size is OK? Cool. I click the Create Service button. And then from here, I choose the container image, which I've pre-built already. And then all I need to do here is select the region. So closest to here is Tokyo at the moment. And then because this is sort of a public app, I'm going to allow unauthenticated invocations, and off I go and create. And that is literally it. So now I sit and wait. And normally, if you're a developer, you think, oh, my code's compiling, I need to go get a coffee. No, you don't really need to do that because the app is already up. So over here, so if I zoom, oh, that's not how you do that. So you can see the URL. So Cloud Run provides a default URL for you to use, and it all takes care of all of the TLS and TLS certificates and all the endpoints and all the bindings and stuff. But you can also configure your custom domain. But for now, we're just going to use this default domain here. And then I can click here. And then my app is up and running. So let's just to prove that this isn't smoke and mirrors, I'm going to upload a real Word document. And I'm going to offer something to the demo gods here. Oh, I have to press the upload button. And hopefully this Word document, works. So right now, so this app is working, deployed into Cloud Run, and then I get business value straight away. So as per what Oyvind was saying a little earlier, what if I want to deploy this into GKE, the same app, into a Kubernetes cluster instead of in a managed environment? I can do the exact same thing with the exact great and very easy developer experience. So I come back here, I follow the exact same steps. So you can see I've got a service. I've got to go back to the home page. I've got a service running now, and so I follow the exact same steps. I create a service. I use the same container, paste, and then this time around, I click the Cloud Run on GKE button. This is where all this magic happens behind the scenes. I choose So I choose a cluster that I've already pre-provisioned, and then literally click the Create button. And so then Cloud Run then communicates with the existing GKE cluster. Oh, and it's up and running already. Oh, wow. Didn't even need to get that coffee. So I've pre-configured this cluster to bind itself on a custom domain. And so the URL is already visible for us. And so if I sort of do the zoom in trickery again, you can see the URL is different from last time. So let's try this app one more time. There you go. The same app's running on GKE cluster. I'm not going to convert to PDF again. You guys know how that works. So to take the step even one step further, and Oyvind didn't mention this, I've now got the same app running on a managed environment. I've got it running on my own GKE cluster. You know, with some of the stuff we've been talking about, Google Cloud is very committed into hybrid and multi-cloud. What if I want to run this same app on another cloud or even on an on-prem Kubernetes environment? This is also very easy to do. So what I'm going to do now is to show you how this can be very easily done. So I go back to my shell, and I've got a file here to sort of cheat my way through this. So first of all, on my command line, I need to switch my context to GKE. So basically, it just tells the command prompt to point to the GKE cluster that I'm in. What I do next is there you go. I extract what's called a service.yaml. So this basically is a descriptor manifest file. So if you're familiar with Kubernetes, like there are manifest files that describe what the service does. And then all I do is now I've got a file called service.yaml. Again, so this basically, without going through the contents, this just basically describes what this service is, what container it runs on, et cetera, et cetera. And so now, here's the magic part. I'm going to switch my context to a cluster that I've created on IBM Cloud. And then after that, once this is done, if you're familiar with Kubernetes syntax, the next line that I run is kubectl apply, which basically then just applies the exact same manifest file that I generated into IBM Cloud. There we go. And I paste that. Boom. Now the service is deployed. And so just to check the URL of this service on IBM Cloud, I run the next command. And then there you have it. So I'm just I'll do the same trickery here again. No, that's not great. Anyway, I'll just click onto the URL, and then you can see that I've got the exact same app deployed into now 3 different environments, on a managed environment, on GKE, as well as on a Kubernetes cluster on another cloud very, very quickly. So back to you, Oyvind.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah.
That is super, super cool.
3 clouds all at once.
That's really, really cool. One thing I'll mention as well, especially for those of you who are developers, any of you have a GitHub repo? Yeah, a couple, all right. So you can add a button in your GitHub repo that allows a single click to launch your GitHub repo app in Cloud Run. Pretty nice, huh? It's just a little button, put it in your GitHub README, and people can just click it, and it starts automatically. Super cool. So just to summarize a little bit about Cloud Run, there's no servers to manage, as you've seen. You can scale up, but you can also scale to 0. You pay exactly for what you use, and it's fully managed in Cloud Run or Cloud Run on GKE, so you can run it on your cluster, and it's available in beta today. Try it out. Really, really would like to hear what you think about it. So serverless is really the future for a lot of types of apps. But we also want to make it easier for you to run things on Kubernetes itself. So for those of you who have been running applications in Kubernetes and GKE, wouldn't it be nice if you could just, you were working there in an IDE, right, as VS Code, it looks like?
Yeah.
So developers tend to live inside their integrated development environments a lot. I'm an Emacs guy myself, but I talked about Pascal earlier. So the cool kids are probably using something like IntelliJ and VS Code these days, right? So if you are doing application development builds and you're running containers and GKE, Kubernetes, Wouldn't it be nice if you can just deploy and manage all of that stuff from inside your IDE? What if you couldn't just use your IDE for your application as code, but use your IDE for infrastructure as code? Code up everything from inside the IDE. What if you could create and manage your clusters from inside the IDE? And that's exactly what we want to show you next, which is Cloud Code. So Cloud Code allows you to do all of these things. And I think, since you're still here, you up for another demo, maybe?
Yeah, sure.
You're going to show us how this works?
Yeah, definitely.
Over to you, William.
All right. So I'm a little bit younger than Oyvind. So my first IDE was Visual Studio 2005. But I think I had to bring that in there. So yeah, obviously we've evolved a little bit, and so now sort of being, I started my career as a .NET developer, and so VS Code is sort of my IDE of choice. So now I'm back onto a blank VS Code instance, and so if I'm starting out a new app, then what do? And so we've got a Cloud Code extension, which makes this very, very easy. So what I do is I open up the command palette, Shift Command P, and then I can simply type Cloud Code, and I'm going to create a new application. And let's also say that I've evolved from .NET and moved on to Node.js. I'm going to develop a Node.js application, and I'm just going to use this as a scaffold, but this will be a good example. I'll put in some default, there's a path, where should I put this app? I'll just leave the default. And then very soon, I'm going to get a new window with a scaffold and everything put together. Here we go. So just to maximize this a little bit. So I've got a scaffold, and then I've got an app that it's already ready to go. So let's just say I'm going to develop the app, and that the app is complete. If I want to deploy this into Kubernetes, what do? Do I go into the command prompt and do stuff, or do I then have to log into the GCP console? No, I don't need to do that. I can do that straight from my IDE, and what I do is basically open up the command palette again, and then there's an option called Cloud Code Continuous Deploy. And so I literally just press that, choose the default. That's the cluster I want to deploy into, and yep, right. So basically, what happens now is behind the scenes, it's going to run a Docker build to build the container, and then it'll also handle the deployments. And you can see that the app has already been deployed, and I get a URL. And so now I can just click onto this, and I trust this domain, and I've got a guestbook app deployed straight away into GKE, and all in the space of, 30 seconds? And so just to prove it's not smoke and mirrors, I can start typing in messages. Hello from Google Cloud Summit. And then I can put this in here, and there you go. So it's a guestbook app. So just to show you, and again, I'll show you a little bit more about what you get out of this extension. So if I go back to my IDE, I get a little tab here called the Kubernetes Explorer. So if I click onto this, the font's a bit big, so just make sure I'm in the right cluster. Within here, I can already inspect what's happening on my cluster. So what pods have I deployed, et cetera, et cetera. And then I can, so for example, looking at pods, you can see that, that deployment, that single click that I did, went and deployed 3 pods. This app actually consists of a front-end app, an API layer, as well as a MongoDB backend. And I deployed all 3 in one go. So you can see that, and I guess another aspect of this is that you can actually also stream logs into the output window here. I'm not going to show that here right now. But that makes the development and the debugging experience extremely, extremely easy. So you can see that now as a developer, let's say as a microservice developer on Node.js, if I want to manage my deployments into GKE, I don't need to leave my IDE at all. And that makes the experience very, very seamless. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, William. So that's really, really awesome. Nothing like seeing what's actually happening behind the scenes. And if you don't use VS Code, for example, if you're focusing on Java and you're using IntelliJ, the same thing works in there as well. We've talked a lot about applications, we've talked a lot about our infrastructure, but as we all know, the key is often the data. So to talk about how we manage data, how we get value out of data, as well as smart analytics and artificial intelligence, I've got the great pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Marco Lepistö, onto the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Marco Lepistö, Solutions Architect, Google Cloud, to the stage.
Thank you, Oyvind. Doce. Nei hao. Good morning. So Oyvind, Emacs? No, VI. VI? Nobody. Okay, Emacs one. All right. So data management. I'm an architect. I'm trying to architect things for our customers, more or less successfully. So let's try to work it backwards. What is the most important thing for your company? Customers. Everybody should say customers. Your customers are most important. And we believe the best way of actually delighting and serving your customers is through data. Because when you think about it, the applications are nothing without the data. They are collecting the data from your customers, their requests, their likes, their data that you work on. They process the data and they output more data with higher value. It's all about data. So then the question is, how do you manage the data to best delight your customers? You need to be fast, you need to be good, you need to produce new revenue. If you want to use the cloud services, like you've heard earlier, you can then offload the management of the infrastructure to managed services and you can focus on developing for your customers. But you need to do your homework. So you need to do things like the magical words on the slide here. You need to have security, reliability, scalability, etc. So don't spend 80% of the time on that. Spend it at least 80% on your customers. So fully managed services help you do that. And they are battle tested at scale at Google. We use the same services to power YouTube and Gmail and search and all these that you know. So the thing about Google Cloud is that Google Cloud is Google. So originally, the services, like the data services we talk about here, were developed to support Google developers to delight our customers. And now you can run your workloads leveraging the same easy-to-use and fast services. Now we have a lot of new things that we would like to show you. For example, recently we have added a lot of content, tutorials and code to help you migrate from legacy on-premises databases to the cloud. You can run SQL Server on Google Cloud. You can run Oracle workloads on Google Cloud through our partner offerings and marketplace. And then we have this. So basically, in Google Cloud, you have a complete portfolio of data management systems at global scale. So you can store your data, you can analyze your data, you can add functionality and smarts and insights with business intelligence, analytics, and even machine learning and AI. If you're developing net new applications for that new revenue generating things, then you should be considering cloud native development. So making a net new application using containers, using serverless, maybe event-driven, stateless applications, stateless, that are scaling out horizontally, even to global scale. For those new things, you can then consider using things like NoSQL data stores, in-memory accelerators and data caches, document data stores, key value stores, graph databases to see connections between entities. But at the same time, you have your legacy or traditional workloads and apps. You still want to help those. You still need to run them before you sunset them. So you still need things like relational, SQL. By the way, if you develop a new application or you want to re-architect an existing application for SQL, consider Spanner. You can have even global scale for your SQL backend with that. And then, of course, we know that it's not a one-horse race. You will not have a one-vendor strategy. You are already using functionalities from great companies such as these. So in April this year, we launched a partnership with these companies, for example, Redis, Elastic, Mongo, etc., so that you can enjoy using these products, but having a unified user interface, unified billing, unified customer experience and support with Google Cloud and these wonderful open source products. So we have a complete set of tools and services to help you manage your data. But rather than me standing here and saying how wonderful they are, isn't it better to hear from an actual user and customer of these services? So please give a warm welcome and welcome on stage Mr. Andy Bean, the CIO of Hong Kong Airports. Andy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Andy Bien, CIO, Hong Kong Airport Authority, to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Andy. Just to give a little bit, just following the discussion about, generation. Yes, my first degree was in computer engineering from the Department of Electrical Engineering, not electronic, right? I also started with Pascal and Fortran those days. And the first time I have a taste of program is in the form of a stack of cards, paper cards. I don't know whether, you might not have seen it, but this is how IT has come from. We've come far and wide. And so today, thank you, Google, for letting us have this opportunity to share a little bit about our airport. I think the lead-in into this is perfect because data is so crucial. Now, I think what I'm going to talk about is a little bit different from what you just heard in terms of technology, but for the locals, you might know that we are building our airport. And we're building not just another airport in the city, but we're trying to develop the airport into airport city. Now, what does that mean? This is the footprint of our current airport. You might recognize some of it. There are some new parts. Now, this is what we call the new runway, the new third runway or the 3-runway system. It's actually a 50% expansion of our current footprint. It's 650 hectares. To give you a sense of what a hectare is like, it's like a football field. So we have 650 football fields, totally reclaimed from the sea. So that's the runway, that's the concourse over there. But at the same time, we have other things going on. Same problem. Listen, can we move to the... Okay, I'll probably have to use my gesture. We have acquired a exhibition called Asia World Expo over there. It's a new development. All right, no, okay. It's all right. So when I talk about an airport city, it's not just the airport itself. When an exhibition development over here, we have the biggest shopping mall in Hong Kong to be developed right on this patch of land called Sky City. We have a state-of-the-art logistics center down at the south to be developed by Cai Niao. And we have, it comes back up. This is the Sky City, this is Cai Niao. We have this is the border crossing to the Makai Zhuhao Bridge. There will be a new ferry pier here, and there's a sky bridge linking the terminal to the North Satellite Concourse. As you can imagine, it's a lot of development work, and it's going to be almost like a little city. The video, please. Now, in order to help us develop, we have used data extensively. Now, what you see here is not just a video. In fact, it's turning the entire airport or representing the entire airport in a 3D model. So we can run it using almost like common day game engine like Unity, whereby you can move around the airport. Not just old areas, but new areas, areas that have not yet developed. But when you talk about data-driven airport, you really need to have data. Now, to convert the data, airport converted into data, it's what we call digital twin. Now, for our digital twin, we have 3 major principles. First of all, we have to have I think we mentioned the single pane of glass. We need a single version of truth. Not stacks of papers, diagrams, CAD files, but in fact, everything all in the same place. It so happens that we have chosen Google as our enterprise analytics platform. So a lot of these things get pull and inject it into the Google platform. Now, secondly, it's not just about technology. In order for data to come alive, you really need to communicate with the people who are using it. So human-centric visualization is a very important principle in the way we do it. Now, why do we do all these fancy visualizations just for the fun of it? No, it takes a lot of work. But we feel that it's important work because without that visualization, it's very, very difficult to explain what we're trying to do. Now, thirdly, it's not good enough to understand, all these plans. We need to be able to be predictive. So we're using all these data to do projection. Again, Google comes into play here, where all the machine learning, all the analytics capability help us predict what will happen. Now, we talk about customer being important, right? So the three challenges that we're facing today at the airport, first, is growth. We need to build up. Secondly, increasing passenger expectation. All of you here are users of our airport. And thirdly, we talk about sustainability in terms of financial, in terms of environmental. So these are the three principles that we use to drive our digital twin. So I'm going to show you another video that will explain a bit more about the digital twin for you. Please, video please.
When you're airborne, the airport's laid out in front of you. But you don't have to catch a flight to see the airport in detail. Introducing the digital twin. It's a digital copy of the physical world. Phone signals, baggage tracking, and other sensors combine to deliver a complete picture of the airport in real time. A model that doesn't just tell us what's happening, it allows us to predict the future. With a single, unified view, our airports can be managed in a way that's never been possible before. A photorealistic model puts you right at the heart of it all. It's as good as being there. Communicate and collaborate to test ideas years before they're built. Solve potential problems before they've even appeared. With a digital twin, we can preview each step of construction long before the work begins. The future unfolds in front of your eyes. Engineers can identify and anticipate issues ahead of time, which means parts and pieces can be planned, manufactured, and installed in the perfect sequence.
Okay, thank you. Now, this part of the airport has not been built. This is what we call the Sky City. Now, I'm going to show you three use cases. The first one is what we call borehole. You see the red bits. It's just for conceptual. In order to do construction, you have to excavate and do a lot of work. But sometimes you run into a lot of difficulties because you don't know what's underneath. So what we typically do is to drill holes into the ground. Now, the result of that will give you a sample of the soil underneath, whether it's granite, something really hard, whether it's something soft. So that will turn into this. All these borehole investigation is recorded over the years in the form of paper. Now, we have more than 30,000 of these documents that need to be processed. You can imagine the amount of effort to try to read through them. Now, we've used Google to help us do a couple of things. First of all, it's, again, the video. We use Google to help us read. So it's not just a matter of optical character recognition. It also has a lot of machine learning intelligence behind it. So after you've read it, please, the video, please. Okay, after we've read it, we turn it into data, and then from the borehole data, again, we use program to try to regenerate what is underneath. Now, once you know what is underneath, then the construction work will be more predictable. With the amount of construction work now happening at the airport, we really need that predictability. So this is the first use case. Now, the second use case is more typical, if you like, analytics. Coming back to the presentation, please. Yes. So we use the Google Vision API to help us read through the document. Again, with machine learning, with cloud machine learning, we help it to understand what's happening and also to do interpolations. Now, the second use case is about traffic at the airport. Now, it's a little city, so there are a lot of cars. Now, our cars are typically these. They are tractors, pulling luggage and baggage and all kinds of equipment, engineering equipment going around the airport. Now, sometimes it can be very congested. Airport runs in a very efficient way. So what we have done is we have processed 2.4 billion vehicle trips. Now, typically, it's more than a cup of coffee. You probably have to go away for a month on vacation or something like that. But unfortunately, with the help of Google, we only have 5 seconds. So within 5 seconds, using BigQuery, we have managed to come up with some insights about, for example, here we have a junction that is a very heavy traffic. It's better to have a quick sort of a kind of a route to connect those busy parts so that the traffic can run more smoothly. So again, data is playing a big role in the not just construction, but the operation of the airport. But finally, I think it's important to understand that things do not happen automatically. With all the intelligence, with all the machine learning, so one of the key objectives for us is to develop what we call citizen data scientists at the airport. Now, these are people who typically have domain expertise. So for them, again, they need to be equipped with tools. At the moment, we're using these tools. You're probably familiar with them. The sheets are Google Sheets are very useful because it's not just purely a spreadsheet in the traditional form. It got intelligence. Just by clicking an explore button, a lot of the pre-built, they can understand what is in the sheet and give you some result. It's gone very far from the days I started my work. And then you have things like the cloud search or the machine learning, again, that will help us develop insights, because it's no use to have a bunch of data and people throwing you reports or dashboard. It's never enough. We need to action on them. So these are the 3 use cases that, we have loads of things happening at the airport, but I think these 3 cases will give you a good idea on what we are trying to do. So for us, we are going for a data-driven airport. Now, with a data-driven airport, it's a slogan, but it really needs technology. And for us, the Google and other technology will help us accelerate the vision of a data-driven airport. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Andy. Leading the way globally. That was really impressive. 5 seconds in BigQuery to analyze the traffic data. That's one of the enablers, the key enablers. That's how you should use technology to actually accelerate your business. So let's now see how you can use these data services and tools to delight your customers. It's kind of a step-by-step process usually. I talked about migrating the data into the cloud. If you want to use the cloud services, kind of have to do that. First, you collect your data. You store the data. Storage alone is maybe not good enough. You need to be able to work with the data. So having a data warehouse that's low cost, reliable, scalable is a nice place to store the data, because then you can analyze the data. So that's the big data analytics. You want it to be fast at the speed of thought, hopefully, or 5 seconds like at Hong Kong Airport. Business intelligence means things like visualizations, graphs, and dashboards. And then you can slap on machine learning to extract even more value and actionable insights from the data. So let's see how you could do that. We have launched a lot of nice new products this year, and now I'd like to show you some of those live. But it's not just about Google products. So again, we have a rich ecosystem, growing ecosystem of partners, because you already have many of these products. You will want to continue using them. They are part of your existing business processes. So you want them to talk natively to Google Cloud services so that everything works together for you. That's the point. So let's now have a real use case, real demo use case. Let's say you buy a product online. I'm guilty of doing that too often. And then you're frustrated. Where is my box? Where is my product? When is it coming? Why isn't it here yet? That's actually a big global problem for you and the people trying to send the package to you. There's a lot of entities involved. There's manufacturing, warehousing, there's customs, stuck in customs, there's shipping, there's traffic conditions. So if you think about it, there's a lot of different data sources. You need to have a holistic one view, big picture of what's going on. So let's see how you could do that. First, you need to connect to those different data sources. I'm sure many of you have been involved in a problem like this. Your manager comes to you and says, integrate this system to our system, or get that data from there to here. The worst case scenario that we are all guilty of is that you put a team of developers for 2 months developing code, because that's the only way you could do it, to actually move the data, maybe process it a bit, and you know what? It was a one-shot wonder. You never use that code again. That's waste. So instead of doing that, the code should go into your customer-facing product, right? So with Cloud Data Fusion, we actually have a yummy way of doing that without any coding. So the idea is that you can easily connect to multiple different data sources, whether they are batch or even real-time. If necessary, you can manipulate the data in flight. For example, transform the data to fit your backend data store, like database, data warehouse, and do it easily without any coding or very minimal coding. So let me show you now. Let's switch to the demo system. Thank you. So here we are in Cloud Data Fusion. We are in the Wrangler. So here, what you can see now is our on-premises legacy database table. So this is the source data. So we can see it here. We are connected to it. And then if you want, you can start specifying transformations here. Why? So for example, maybe the data types here in this weird data source, they don't exactly match your data lake, your data warehouse. So you need to transform them. So you can do the transformations here without any coding or with very minimal scripting here, however you want. For example, scripting would be a custom transform. Then, of course, you can do things like dropping columns, aggregating, etc. So think of it as cleaning the data in a very handy user interface. And then to actually get the data from the data source to the data sink, which is your central system, you can either have real-time or batch. If you have a data stream, you can connect a connector to the data stream and have real-time pipelines feeding data into your central system. So here we have now a graphical view, easy drag and drop view of connecting data sources and sinks. So on the left you have the legacy on-premise database. In the middle is Data Fusion, where we do the transformations if you need. And then you select a sink. BigQuery is a very logical choice. It's a very common choice for these. So all you need to do is literally drag and connect BigQuery as the destination. You specify what table, and then bam. Then you can either run it manually, or you can schedule it at regular intervals, or even better, you can have event-driven systems. You can trigger these pipelines to happen when there is new data. So that's, I believe, the best way to do that. And then, just to show you, after you do that, here's an example of the data then in BigQuery. So after you run the pipeline, you may do some transformations, they land in BigQuery. So then the point is that then you have a single source of truth. All your data is in BigQuery in this case. So let's go back to slides, please. And just a reminder, then, when you have your data in BigQuery, you don't need to focus on managing servers or database clusters. You just work on simple SQL queries and start analyzing the data quickly. And to make it even quicker, we have a recently announced BigQuery BI engine, which is a native accelerator for BigQuery so that you can actually start working on your data with the speed of thought. So let's go back to my demo things here and see how that looks like. So we are here in BigQuery. That's the table in the data warehouse. Then what you can easily do is use Cloud Data Studio and create graphs and visualizations that show you things, show you insights. One of the things that we can see here, this is our shipment system, is that we have some delivery delays. For example, Brazil looks very nasty here. So if we click on Brazil, we can start deep diving into the data. And every time I click on something, what's actually happening is that Cloud Data Studio is using the BI accelerator. It's analyzing up to millions of rows of data in sub-second response time and giving you the results. So you can really work at the speed of thought. If things get very slow, then you're like, whatever, and you do something else. So you want it to be fast. So let's go back to slides. So with BigQuery, you have all your data in a really easy to use central place. You can analyze it quickly, accelerated by BI accelerator, but then machine learning. So I'm sure you're thinking, I wish I could use machine learning to add value to from my data and add features. But I don't have data scientists. I don't have a data science team. I don't have people who have PhD in statistical analysis. Well, neither do I. That's why my personal favorite, I shouldn't have, but telling just you, my personal favorite in Google Cloud is AutoML. With AutoML, I believe we can democratize machine learning. Why? Because it automatically creates custom machine learning models for your business problem. Machine learning is, at the end of the day, a labeling machine. That's what it is. Is it a cat or is it a dog? It's a dog. Is it a delayed shipment? Yes, with 82% confidence. It's a labeling machine. Machine learning learns from example. That's the training data. So you give it a lot of data, and it detects the patterns, the signals, the features. To do that, you used to have data scientists. You still need them, but wouldn't it be nice if you could have custom machine learning models without any coding? That's AutoML. And now we have a new AutoML tables, that lets you create machine learning models directly on your data in BigQuery. So let's go back to the demo, please. Let's see how we could actually use this. So we are now here. We have a very fast, nice graphical user interface to explore our data visually. Just to remind that it looks like this in BigQuery then. To actually start having machine learning predictions on that data, instead of just showing what is the situation now, that's good, you need visibility, otherwise you're flying blind. Wouldn't it be nice if something would tell you what's likely going to happen next? Having predictions, trending, preventive maintenance, etc. Here we are in AutoML tables. You can see here that this is actually the same table in BigQuery. So AutoML tables is connected to the same table and representing it here. Then all you need to do is select what do you want to predict. So you select a column, and we believe the most important column for your customers is delivery time. So then you just select the delivery time column as the one for predictions. And then you click train. That's why I love AutoML. You click a button that says train, you go for coffee, you come back, and you have a custom model that is able to then predict on shipment delays. Once you have the model, you can then use the model. And you can use it with online predictions, basically calling the model with a new data record, and that column, delivery time, will be predicted by AutoML. Or you can even point this model at complete tables in BigQuery, and for each row in those tables, you get a prediction on the shipment delays. And then a handy way is then to output the results as a new table. So we have done exactly that. So now we go back to Data Studio, but in this case, this is a slightly improved version of the dashboard, where this particular graph or graphic is now the prediction. AutoML tables is now predicting delivery delays in a nice, easy to understand visualization. So for example, we can see India, Indonesia, and Mexico are predicted to have delivery delays. And then all you need to do is find the root cause. Okay, looks bad. How do I fix that before it affects my customers? And it doesn't really delight them then. Okay. So that's AutoML tables, a super easy way to get machine learning for your data without any coding. So let's go back to slides, please. So with all these things that I showed you just now, you can add a lot of value to your data without any coding. So that's good. That's speed, time to market, time to revenue. AI is for everyone, every business, any use case. So we have customers and partners who are doing things like medical research, identifying diseases in the eyes, analyzing X-ray images. Farmers are using machine learning with mobile apps powered by Google Cloud to see if their crops are healthy. We have industrial customers doing visual inspection of components in production lines, etc., all powered by machine learning intelligence. AI is also for builders. You still want to have the data scientists. They can focus on the new problems. I believe that AutoML can handle a lot of those, so you can have more machine learning features by AutoML quickly giving you the models for most of your use cases. And then your data scientist team can focus on the new weird things. So they will build custom machine learning models. We have AI platform for your teams to actually start creating the models and then run the same model on premises with Kubeflow, Google's open source platform for running TensorFlow on Kubernetes or in the cloud without any changes. And AI Hub is a great way of collaborating across your teams with things like notebooks. Handy way of collaborating on data, and you can embed the machine learning models inside those Jupyter notebooks. Very cool. So AutoML tables is one of our latest flavors of AutoML. We have also the other things like vision, video intelligence, natural language processing, etc. But AI is also helping business processes. Disney, for example, uses the recommendations AI in their online store for customers to easily discover their favorite Disney characters. Document Understanding AI lets you finally tackle that mountain of data, those weird documents you have stored somewhere, and you can use things like NLP, natural language processing, to do sentiment analysis, for example, for your historical customer emails. So you can extract more value from that previously unusable data. And then we have Contact Center AI, which is a fantastic holistic solution helping any company who has a call center finally avoid the problem of people sitting in the queue listening to bad 80s music for an hour before somebody picks up the phone. Wouldn't it be really nice if an AI agent could actually talk to the customer, pick up the phone immediately, by the way, in their language, and only then direct the call to a real human for those unusual edge scenarios that cannot be served by machine learning recommendations. So the call centers can really have an improved service to their customers and scale by using Contact Center AI. Basically, it's a combination of Google Cloud and Salesforce Service Cloud, their Einstein chatbot, together with our Dialogflow, having natural language processing, sentiment analysis, and multi-language support. Then the human agents in the call center, while they are talking to those customers that had to come to the human agent, the system will start surfacing recommendations, workflows, and background information so that they can improve the quality of service to the end customer. And of course, all the data then produced by the system is easily stored and analyzed for further use. Now, I talked about collaboration earlier. With AI Hub, your data scientists and teams can collaborate on notebooks, but let's switch gear and let's really talk about collaboration in the enterprise now. Now, with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce the next speaker on stage, my good friend who knows one or two things about collaboration, Diane.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Diane Shalev, G Suite Lead, Office of the CTO, Google Cloud, to the stage.
Come on up, Diane.
Thank you. All right, so I am our last section of the day. I'm super excited to talk about productivity and collaboration. But before I jump in, I thought I'd share a quick story about myself. I, many years ago, spent some time studying at Chinese U, made some great friends. So I try to come to Hong Kong every year. Been here maybe 10 or 15 times now. And I still have never been to Ocean Park. And I thought that this past weekend I would go to Ocean Park, but my friend's 2 daughters, 4 and 6 years old, they saw the hotel pool, and that's what they picked. So I will need to come back to Hong Kong again to make sure I get in my Ocean Park trip. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. I want to talk about productivity and collaboration. So what does this mean when we talk about transforming the way that we work? We can absolutely feel when we are being productive and collaborative, right? It's this feeling we have, oh my God, the project's going so smoothly, everyone's in sync, we're moving ahead. And we can also feel when we're not being productive and when we're not being collaborative, when files are forked, when ideas aren't shared properly and we go in different directions, right? And so when we talk about productivity and collaboration, we're talking about bringing that great feeling you have when things are going well to all of your work all of the time. Our vision for G Suite, for digital transformation, isn't just about computer software algorithms. It's about supercharging your people because they're the most important part of your business. And we know today that people are working from all over the world. Teams are distributed, you're on multiple devices, and we want you to be able to work when it works for you. So what does this all mean? What does productivity mean? Well, instead of me talking about it, I want to show you a video. And this video is going to talk about Humpty Dumpty. Is anyone familiar with Humpty Dumpty? A little bit. So it's an English nursery rhyme. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And Humpty Dumpty is an egg that breaks apart into many pieces. And in the nursery rhyme, they can't fix Humpty Dumpty. He just falls apart. But today, the team is going to use G Suite to rebuild Humpty Dumpty. Let's take a look.
Well, maybe this is an opportunity to pivot.
Awesome. So we saw Humpty Dumpty get put back together. Pretty sure most of us here, our business is not working on Humpty Dumpty, but it's on other things. It's on coming up with the next great marketing plan, on finishing the budget for this quarter, on making sure that our customers are having the best service possible. And so with G Suite, we think you can make it fast, smart, and together. And I want to talk through 3 quick examples that highlight this. Anyone here ever been late to work? Okay, a couple hands, that's good. Yeah, it happens. So one of the things I like to think about is when you're late to work and you need to move that first meeting of the day, you want it to be really, really fast. And Google Assistant, in conjunction with G Suite, you can use a voice command to move my meeting to just get that task done. So the next thing I want to talk about is making it smart. One of the biggest challenges that businesses face today who use legacy productivity tools is that data is very siloed. Data is on people's local machines, in their emails, and so we can't find it. So with the power of G Suite, though, since all your data is in the cloud, you can use search and machine learning and AI to search your entire company's data set and get access to all the information and intelligence that exists. But we know that you keep working on other systems as well. Tools like SAP, SharePoint. And so we want to make sure that when you're using cloud search, we search all of these systems as well. Salesforce too, so that you can get access to information no matter where it is to supercharge what you're working on. And the last point I want to make is about making work together. I don't know about you, but I can't think of the last time I did a project just by myself. And so let's say a project's kicking off, you start and you're in email, and suddenly you realize, ooh, I'm sending a lot of emails. Maybe the better tool here is chat, a real-time communication tool. Well, with G Suite, with the integration of chat and Gmail, I can seamlessly move between the two and pick the communication tool that's right for that moment in the project lifecycle. So with this being said, I've talked a lot about how G Suite helps businesses. And what I want to do is I want to bring on to, we're going to do, perfect. I want to talk about how these numbers translate for how businesses work. Perfect. So we have 1.5 billion people from around the world who use G Suite every month. It's a really big number. And within that, we have 5 million paying businesses. And what's really exciting is that Forrester performed a study that showed that these businesses who move to G Suite, they see a top-line revenue increase of 1.5%. So this means if your business has $100 billion in revenue, just by moving to G Suite, that's an extra $1.5 billion of incremental revenue. And lastly here, money's super important, right? We need to make sure our business is successful, but we want to also make sure that our users are having a great experience. And so G Suite does such a great job of removing the boring, the mundane, and the repetitive that this study showed that the average employee gets back 171 hours per year. That's like a month of your entire work year that you now have back to focus on the next great idea. So I really love to talk about our customers, but I actually think it's better when we hear from them directly. And so I want to invite to the stage Jackie from Bluebell to share his story.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jackie Leung, CIO, Bluebell Group, to the stage.
Thank you, Diane.
So we're going to have a quick little chat here.
Hi.
So to get us started, why don't you tell the audience a bit about what Bluebell does?
Bluebell, we are the leading team for omnichannel brand creator in Asia. We bring in brands like Louis Vuitton in the 70s, like Davidoff, Moschino, or lifestyle, luxury, or premium brands that we bring in. We are the #1 duty-free operator in Korea, and also the #1 fragrance operator in Japan.
Awesome. So why G Suite? What inspired you to think about changing up your productivity tools?
Well, before we move on to G Suite, I mean, a lot of us are suffering from a lot of connectivity issues. Team collaboration is not always how you want it to be. We are using too much time on searching emails back and forth, huge attachment. You can't even think, you can't even find the perfect attachment that you're looking for. So with G Suite, everything is simple, everything is real life, real time, and down to the point. Save us a lot of time.
And so when you think about your journey moving to G Suite, what are a couple of highlights? What are a couple of anecdotes you can give on some of the successes that you've seen in your business?
In the beginning of the journey, we thought we need more time to the adaptation, but actually, we find that the millennials and the young generation, they adopt almost instantly. They actually learn the tool when they were in college. For us, we build the teams much better in terms of productivity. We spend less time on searching, but more time on productivity. We literally can now work anywhere, anytime, on any device. I can go to Ocean Park with you in this afternoon.
That sounds really fun.
And actually, we can continue work.
Exactly. And so what piece of advice would you have for someone in the crowd who's sitting there today going, yeah, I've seen G Suite so many times, but really there's so many other technology problems I need to focus on. I can't think about prioritizing my productivity stack. What piece of advice would you have for them as to why they should be thinking about that as a higher priority?
I think it's very simple. Just try. Just try, and then you will just love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us on stage. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Diane.
And so I mentioned that we have 5 million customers, right? Can't stop at just one customer talking about how great G Suite is for them today. So with that, I'd like to invite onto stage Angus from HK01 to talk about their journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Angus Tse, Director of Engineering, HK01 Company Limited, to the stage.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Angus from Hong Kong CO1, HK01, 香港01. Today, I'm going to share about how does HK01 to make use G Suite to speed up our growth. Let's talk about what is HK01. HK01 is one of the most popular medias in Hong Kong, and we launched in 2016. In past 3 years, we grew rapidly in terms of our product traffics. We got millions of daily active users every day, and then in 2019, this year, second quarter, and we double our traffic compared with 2018. So, and now we are the top news apps in Google Play Store and both and iOS App Store as well. So, and last year we also win a Google Best Daily Help Apps Award. In HK01, we make use of big data, machine learning to keep enhancing our user experience, to make our user to love our mobile apps. But Hong Kong CO1 is not just a media. Actually, we established a lot of service like Eat to Join, Eat which is an online merge offline service. You can order the food using our apps, and then you can pick up in the restaurant. And then we got a running reward service, 01齊跑, which is will keep tracking your running mileage and then your progress, and then you will get a reward, maybe membership points or the coupons, or even you can win an air ticket to Tokyo Marathon. So our team is keep growing, and now we got 800 staff in Hong Kong, and then we got at least 100 technical guys in Hong Kong. So we need a lean and comprehensive tools for our daily collaborations. So we pick G Suite. So of course, G Suite got a lot of collaboration tools on documentation, like Google Doc, spreadsheet, and slides. But today, I would like to more focus on other features like how to do the integration with other Google portals and any other third-party service. So authentication is a very hard problem for every company, maybe got hundreds of people. And we use the G Suite directory for our internal system authentications. We make use the open standard like SAML and the OAuth so that we can authenticate our internal staff to access our internal system like our media, CMS, and our e-commerce control panel, something like that. And then also, we use it to control the access on the third-party service. So like for the engineering tools like Datadog, for the system or infrastructure monitoring, Atlassian like Jira, and then Confluence for the product management. Slack, which is an instant messaging tools for our office, and then Freshdesk, which is a SaaS service for the help desk. So most of them support this SAML and OAuth out of the box. So the integration with this is very easy, simple, and lightweight. So our engineer maybe just spend 1 or 2 hours so that we can integrate our system to this kind of service. And for the IT admin, just use few mouse click, and then you can grant or revoke the access for this kind of service. So it is very cool. And data is very important, yeah. We always said that data beats emotions. So in Hong Kong CO1, we make decisions based on our data, rely on data. So we make use of the data, Google Data Studio, which is a simple data visualizing tools. And then we use it to help our business team to do the analyze and then to do the business decisions. And furthermore, our business team can export, we use the simple mouse click, can export those data from the data studio to the Google spreadsheet, and then they can do further data massage, just like the old days using something like a VLOOKUP and if sum or FA, something like that, so that they can do their own calculation or data massage, and then so that we can facilitate our business team to do data analyzed without any coding, without any a loss of the programming knowledge. And then we got 800 staff, and then we have maybe sometimes we got maybe work from home, maybe we come office late. Okay, so yeah, so Hangout, so Google Hangout, which is very important tools for us to do the online meeting, the video conference, and even we do the internal sharing. So yeah, so even maybe we got business trip in Beijing or even in Taiwan, and then we can do the video conference anywhere. So yeah, Google Hangout is very good for the video conference. And we also make use of the Google Sites. Google Sites, which is a internal. We use it to build our internal mini sites or internal user guideline, even a knowledge base, so that we can just non-engineer guys, they can just use the drag and drop to make an internal site easily, so that we can create an internal user guideline without any coding, without any servers. And one more thing is, in a technical-driven company, the automation is very important for us. So G Suite got a very good ecosystem, very open, and then they got a lot of support on third-party integration. So in HK01, we make use a SaaS service like called Zapier, so that we connect our G Suite tools like Google Form and then Slack and Jira together. So we automate the whole workflow. So just give an example. For example, if somebody submit a Google Form to ask a question for our technical team, and then our technical team will receive the Slack message immediately, so that they will get notification, so they can take action. And also, we can create a Jira task so that we can follow up immediately. So this kind of integration, which is very important to speed up our growth, to reduce our human errors and reduce our human mistakes. So overall, G Suite is a very great tool for our team and our company for collaboration. So if your company is looking for a lean and comprehensive collaboration tools, yes, I would say that I highly recommend G Suite. So I hope my sharing is useful for you guys today. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Awesome. Thanks so much. That was so great. So I just want to take a moment to wrap up our section on productivity and collaboration. We've at G Suite, we've been at the forefront of thinking about how do people work together and what are the tools that they really need to get stuff done. And as you can see from the screen behind me, G Suite is comprised of a powerful set of applications that work seamlessly together to connect with your team wherever they are. And of course, all of this is without ever having to worry about compromising the safety or security of your information. So I'd like to invite Kathy Lee back to the stage to wrap up our day.
Thank you, Diane. And I hope this morning's keynote has provided enough proof points that Google is your partner for growth. And now it's pretty much concludes this morning's keynote, and we're ready to move to lunch break. And sorry about the time a bit overrun, but may I encourage everyone during lunch break to spend some time to visit our showcases and partner pavilion to learn more about the Google Cloud offerings as well as our partner offerings. And of course, for those developers out there, don't forget that we do have a hands-on lab for you to get your hands to dirty and start doing some coding on Google Cloud. And of course, in the afternoon, the program will start here at 1 p.m. with 4 different breakout tracks. And throughout the day, you will see many of our Google Cloud staffs here wearing the Google Cloud t-shirt. And we're here to have a good conversation with you, see what, and explore what are the Google Cloud technologies or partner solutions that we can help you problem solve some of your business challenges. So thank you very much. Have a great day and see you soon. And look forward to catching up with you in the afternoon. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are having lunch break now. Our brunch will be divided into 2 sessions, from now until 12:30, and the second session will be from 12:30 to 1:15. Please refer to your badge and proceed to the respective lunch location at the time specified on your badge to enjoy your meal. Also, please spend time to visit our partners' booths, the live theater sessions, as well as the hands-on lab during the lunch break. The afternoon breakout sessions will resume here promptly at 1:15. Before you go, you are welcome to follow our fan page, Google Cloud HK, to receive our latest updates and sharing. Thank you.